Hey, what's going on, guys? Zach here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Hey, today I was actually going to do a video on something completely different, and then I decided to do something like this instead, which is go where your, I don't know where my marker is at, over there. So go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. So most people in network marketing, me included, when beginning, went anywhere we possibly could. So we went where we were tolerated. So if literally anyone would let us spend a little bit of time with them, we would go there, and we would spend time with those people. We would coach those people, and we were tolerated by them. Now, I'm going to give you a litmus test here in a second, but this right here will drain you of energy and will stress you out big time if you go where you're tolerated. So you want to switch and only go where you're celebrated, and spend time where your efforts literally are celebrated, where they're pumped that you're there, and you know that. There's 2 litmus tests to know if you're celebrated or not. I'm going to give you those here in a moment. But if you don't do this, you're going to hate your life. I can promise you that. Not only will your results be really, really bad, but you're going to really dislike your life. And something has happened recently, and basically someone, I believe, has just moved from here to here, and it has trickled over into my brain, and so this has become a thing for me that I haven't really had to deal with in years. But just recently, it looks like with a person that we work with, it looks like we're dropping into this category, and this is a reflection of them. So you're going to remember that what you are teaching people, hopefully you have results, but hopefully your upline does at the very least, and you can point to them. In our case, we have results. I mean, this person probably has no freaking clue what they actually are, because we don't really showcase our results, but they're pretty good. And recognize that if you have results, your upline has results, what you're saying is true and works. And so if you move, if someone is just tolerating your time, tolerating your coaching, you're not being celebrated, and it's going to drain you. And so we just had something happen recently where someone is dropping down into this category right here, and I didn't really recognize it. I kind of have a slight feeling, and I just noticed like how angry it made me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to live like this all the time. Like, I used to be so I was willing to grow no matter what it took back then, and so I would be literally selling my time to anyone for free just because I wanted to grow the business, and I would always go where I was tolerated, not necessarily celebrated. And that's a huge, huge problem. It's going to stress you out a lot. You're not going to get very good results. So for the past few years, we've completely flipped that. I do get flack for this, by the way. I don't care. I get flack from doing this. I promise you, you're going to live a better life. I promise you, you're going to make a better team, and you'll probably make more money too. You'll definitely like yourself a lot more and like your people and team a lot more. And you want to go where people celebrate you, not where they tolerate you. Here's the litmus test. There's 2 of them. The first one is if the person calls you or Voxers you or emails you or whatever the method of communication is, if they contact you, email you, whatever, you're excited to open the email, the piece of contact. If you're not excited to open that, then it's potentially an indication that you're being tolerated, or that you've got them started improperly, and now they have an entitlement mentality of some kind. And many times that is actually your fault as the upline, or my fault as the upline, for giving that person an incorrect mentality as they're starting and not having proper expectations set in the relationship when we start. Now, even there are times when you can set proper expectations, you can do everything properly, and everything should be aligned, but you still slip over into this category. And a good litmus test for yourself is if you see that number pop up on your phone in some capacity, you're excited to open it. Now, I'll tell you right now, I've got some people on my team that, man, I'm excited to open those numbers. I'll also tell you this, very few people on my team have my phone number. And just because they have it doesn't necessarily, it's not indication that they're there. It just means that they somehow got it. But most people on a team don't have my phone number. They don't have Ashley's phone number. Now, there's a few that do, and I've told them, hey, I'm excited when you call me, I'm excited when you text me, and they are in that celebrated category, or they celebrate us, and they actually get really good results because we spend a lot of time with them and because they're really good at getting results for themselves. Don't get me wrong, it's on them. So, do you enjoy opening up those pieces of communication? That's a really, really good test. For those that, if you don't open those pieces of communication, or if you don't like opening those pieces of communication, that's an indication that you might need to reevaluate who you're working with. I think there's a little bit more to that, but I'm blanking on that. The second thing is if they are producing before they get in contact with you. So for us, for instance, we give, like all of our team has a stair-step process to follow as to how to get results with whatever process they're following, be it warm market or one of the Rebels cold market recruiting systems using advertising and stuff like that. We've had people go from 0 all the way to functional and profitable without ever asking us a single question. While everything might not be perfect in the systems, we have had people become completely self-sufficient all by themselves without ever speaking to anyone internally here at Rebels. And so the thing that we look for is that person producing before they come to us? It's funny, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, the people that make the most noise fall into this category, the tolerated category, meaning they're just tolerating you and they actually drain your energy. Most people make the most noise. So 99% of the time, we have figured out ways to protect ourselves from people like that on our team. And so what we do is we only communicate with people on the team via certain communication channels. Primarily, we use Voxer and email, but we're actually phasing out of email because people can get a little bit lackadaisy with that stuff. So they communicate with us via Voxer. If we really want to partner with someone, we will give them a phone number and let them know that they can call us really anytime or text us anytime. And there's very few people on that list. Again, just because they have your number doesn't mean that they're on the list. The other test, if I wasn't clear, is that they're producing before they come to you. So what that means is this person recruits people. They make sales. They make profit. Hopefully they make a profit. I mean, even if they're not making a profit, that's not necessarily horrible, but they are making sales and they're taking responsibility. The next thing is they come to the table with solutions, not just complaints. We call it a 6-inch putt. 6-inch putt, or we don't call it that. I actually picked this up from a friend of mine who picked it up from another friend of his. A 6-inch putt means that when someone comes to us with something, a question or complaint or something, hopefully they don't come with complaints, but if they do, it's a 6-inch putt. 6-inch putt means that they come to us with something, and all we have to do is just knock it in the hole. So what that means is if someone comes to us with a question, they also have a solution of some sort already established. Like, hey, this is a problem that I'm having. This is a potential solution for the problem. This is what I'm thinking about. Does that sound good to you? Or would you do something different? That's a 6-inch putt because we can say, yep, that sounds good. Go do it. Or, no, that doesn't sound good. In fact, we've tried that. Maybe think about it this way. But a 6-inch putt is a problem with a potential solution attached to it. And usually it's actually, what's even better is a problem with a solution that they've already executed, and they say, can you give me feedback on what I've executed? That's the best, because now we're just in feedback mode. I'll give you an example. We have a realtor that is taking care of a house for us right now. He said, hey, this was like 1 o'clock p.m. yesterday. He said, hey, I've got a showing at 2:30 p.m. Can I show it? This was at I think it was like 12:30 when he texted me. I wasn't by my phone. I was out having lunch. Didn't have my phone for like 45 minutes. 45 minutes later, I still didn't have it. He texted me again. He said, hey, I just booked the appointment. I hope that's okay with you. Let me know if it's not. That was the right move because I get back to my phone. It was like 1:15 or something like that. He said, I want to show it at 2:30. I'm reading everything I just told you. And he said, hey, I'm doing this showing. I hope it's okay. If it's not, let me know. Well, I'm really excited to get rid of that house. So I'm like, yes, that's okay. We'll make it work. We'll make it happen. And so we ran over to the house, picked a few things up, and got out of there so that they could show the place at 2:30 because we're very motivated to get rid of that house. Now, he took action. He said, I've got a problem. I made a solution. I executed on the solution. Let me know if that wasn't okay. That's the number one thing that we look for. So when someone comes to us and says, hey, I have a complaint of some kind, or I can't figure something else, and they don't offer a solution to that complaint or to that question, we know that they're thinking at a low level, and while we might answer them, they're not on the radar to really spend a lot of time with. If someone comes with a potential solution, they're on the radar. That's number one. That's all point number one. Number two is how you like them, how you spend time with them. Remember that your upline are people too, person two. We own a company, yes. Some people might put us on a pedestal. Some people don't put us on a pedestal. Either way, it doesn't matter. I used to put my upline on a pedestal. Today I don't, because I understand that they're human beings. But here's what I know about all human beings. This is what you should know about the upline that you're working with or the coach that you're working with. They're humans too. They're subject to the same people skills that you use on your downline. So if you give your best to your downline, why do you give your second best to your kids or to your wife or your husband? If you give your best to your team, why do you keep giving second-rate stuff to everyone else? Especially going upline. I am somewhat baffled sometimes when people don't give their best to their upline. We've always given our best to ours. Why? Because we want favor there. When I ask for a favor, something that is maybe out of the ordinary, I want to be the first person that they think of. Yeah, I want to give that to them. When something big happens, and maybe there's opportunities to speak at certain events or have influence over certain groups or maybe acquire big things in business, I want to be the first person that on my big upline's mind, the first person on the corporation's mind, the very first person. I want them to be thankful when I call. And when I call, it picks up. I'm grateful to say right now that if I call, there's only 2 people in our upline. If I call either of those two people in our upline, they'll answer immediately. They're excited to get my call. I'm happy to say that if I call someone at corporate, they'll pick up my call immediately. Why is that? Is it because I'm great? No. Is it because I produced? Honestly, well, some of it. But it's also because I treat them better than probably anyone else treats them, maybe besides their family. And that's not an accident. It's on purpose. Go read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's on purpose. You go in there and every single thing is a sandwich. It's a sandwich. So if you need to bring something up to someone, you start with something good, you edify them, then you talk about the thing, maybe the question, the complaint. So we're going to talk about the question here. Provide a solution. Then tell them it's not time sensitive, unless generally it's not, and then add it again. Remember, there are no time emergencies. If you think there's time emergencies, it's probably because you have a small business. So if I'm going to bring something up to an upline or the corporation or someone that I want to hopefully get esteem or favor from, I'm going to bring something up. I'm going to give them a compliment. I'm going to edify them in some capacity. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for all that you do. I'm going to give them a genuine, I'm going to basically butter them up, but I'm going to edify them, but it's going to be genuine. Then I'm going to provide my question. Whatever the question is, I'm going to provide the solution that I'm going to take action on, and I'll let them know this is not that time sensitive. Even if it is, hey, I understand that you have a lot of things on your plate. You're dealing with probably more things that I am aware of, and so I just want to let you know that this is the thing, this is the action I'm going to take in the next 24 hours if I don't hear from you. Just want to let you know that this is what I'm doing. Again, it's not time sensitive, but I'd love your feedback if you get the chance. If not, no big deal. We can always talk about it later. Finally, brother, I'm so glad for all that you do and for doing X, Y, and Z and for being a part of life. Thank you. I'm ending it with something good and edification. We've got a guy on our team right now that does this thing perfectly. I don't even know if he knows what he's doing, but he does this thing perfectly. He is probably the only person that I'm excited about getting a text from almost any time of the day. Probably literally one of the only people on the planet besides my wife and my family. Because he follows this verbatim. Now, every single time he sends me a message, am I getting the big butter up? Not every single time, nor do I need that, nor do I want that, because it takes up a lot of time. But he does it enough to where I feel good. I'm a human too. I want to feel good, right? I want to spend my time with people that make me feel good. If every time I open someone's message, I'm cringing, or I'm like, I don't know if I'm completely independent from any one person on the team. We're the biggest producers in our team by far. I don't need any of them. And so that puts me in a position of power that also says to me, if someone's pissing me off continually, I'm not going to answer their stuff. I'm not going to talk to them. If they send me a message, I don't care how much they're complaining. Like, you're treating me like crap. You treat your wife like this? You treat your husband like this? You treat your kids like this? What do you think you're going to do to your kids if you talk to them like that? You know what I'm saying? By the way, they want favors from me. If I wanted to, I could send out an email and probably make them 20 grand. Like that, at least. You want favors from me? And you're going to talk to me like that? Yeah, okay. So remember that. And remember, I'm giving you some of my own passion right now so that you hopefully take some of this. Network marketers, generally speaking, are weak leaders. They're weak because they don't have experience from something else than beforehand. Now, the only way you get strong is if you have previous experience or you've been in the industry long enough to go through enough hell and back to have some legit principles, set good expectations, do this kind of stuff, go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. That's when you become strong. So I'm trying to impart this on you early. Don't go where you're tolerated, go where you're celebrated. I did this for years and years and years where I went where I was tolerated and I literally hated everything about my business. I changed. I went where I'm celebrated. I created rules with how to communicate with our team. I created rules with how to coach with our team. I created rules in our business. I went where I was celebrated only. And honestly, I forgot about a lot of this stuff. And until just recently where we had the situation come up and I was like, this has made me extremely pissed. And I guess as I'm saying this to you, I'm now saying that I'm very grateful that this actually happened because it showed me a few things. It showed me, number one, I need to reevaluate who I'm spending any time with whatsoever. Number two, I need to make sure that I'm teaching this so that other people don't go through what I did for years and they only go through it for a few months. Because this has only been a couple days that I've been dealing with this mentally and I'm already annoyed. And so you might be dealing with this for a long time and I don't want you to do that. And I want to make sure my team doesn't do that. But anyway, hopefully this made sense. I know this is a bit of a rant, but sometimes the best stuff comes out when you get so emotionally charged by something and it sparks up lessons in you that you've learned, that we've applied years ago, forgot that we applied them, and now we live a much more sane life, a significantly more profitable life. And I kind of forgot that I did these things years ago. And so hopefully that this situation is a blessing, not only to us and our future selves, but also to you, and you can kind of take some of this and apply it into your life. So anyway, with that being said, if you found value, do me a favor, leave a comment down below, smash that like button, and if this is on YouTube, I want you to hit the subscribe button and follow these videos. So anyway, guys, hopefully have an amazing day.